As someone who's generated over $1 billion to the marketplace, I'm curious to hear how your viewpoint of success has changed from the beginning to how you view success now. What was once real that's now you've realized is actually a lie?
Yeah, great question. We're getting right into it. So my whole goal, I don't know if do you know Billy Jean is?
Yeah.
So I actually, he knows I've said this a few times because when I see him in person, he mentions that. I remember this was 7, 8 years ago. I saw an ad with Billy Jean and he was sitting on some mansion. He's like, here's the difference between a doctor and like a mechanic and why a doctor makes more money. He delivers more value. And I just remember he said something like he was doing $1 million a month. I was like, holy shit. I was like, $1 million a month. It's like, I got to hit that. This guy, like, I was looking at him like, this guy can hit it. I can hit it, you know? And most people don't think that way. So anyways, I set a goal to hit $1 million a month. And for the next 18 months, I just put my head down and that's all I did. Like no date. I mean, my life was pretty crazy from like, I want to say 22 to 27. It was like no dating, no going out. There's no way I would have said yes to this. I'll be like 100% no. And I just, I was like, hey, when I hit $1 million a month, like I've made it. So I hit $1 million a month in 18 months. And I remember in the time I'm living in Miami, had a, $1 million Lambo SVJ, Lamborghini, custom matte red and black. It was sick. And I was living in this penthouse and like life is just great, in my eyes. And I remember I had this huge party to celebrate, and I was pretty high for that day. And I remember this guy showed up and I don't even know who this guy was. Like when you have booze, people just show up. And this guy shows up and he said, he's like, whose house is this? I was like, oh, this is my place. Like, wow, it's a really great house, etc. And he's like, what's the party for? And, I'm like super in a good mood. I'm like, oh yeah. So like, I've been trying to hit $1 million a month in my business, done. Like I've been all this stuff and I hit it. So I wanted to celebrate. And I just remember him being like, he kind of didn't give a shit. He was just kind of like, cool. And he like turned around and I remember in that moment, just kind of just feeling very deflated. It's like, wow, like you don't give a shit. And I just like spent my entire life getting to this moment. And so, it was the last 18 months, but even before that, like everything had led to that moment. And I remember the next day, like I was a little bit depressed. I was looking over Miami, like I had a great view. And I just remember thinking, man, like if this guy doesn't give a shit about me, and there's like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, there's probably people in the world who don't even know who they are, which is crazy to say, but you'd be surprised. I'm like, well, I mean, there's no way I can win. Like there's no way to do something big enough that it's actually going to matter, it felt like. So I started going down this whole path of like maybe nihilism and, it doesn't matter, or like, what's the point of life? And, ultimately you can't really prove those answers. Everyone comes to their own conclusions. But I eventually got to the point where it was like, I mean, it doesn't, like the money doesn't matter. And I think if people don't have money and say that, it's usually coping. But when you actually get there, you realize like it doesn't really matter, right? Like it's just a piece of paper. It's green paper, we invented. So then I was like, well, what am I going to do with my life? And I took a 6-month sabbatical, I think shortly after. And I felt pretty terrible. I didn't realize I felt terrible. I think it's like when you eat McDonald's every day and then after a while it just becomes normal. So your body adapts. And then I got back to work. I was like, I felt so good the first day I worked after 6 months. I was like, wow, like that was not fun. I think I'm just going to work hard because I just like to work. And that's kind of what's it transitioned to, where now a lot of my mindset and pushing is a lot around just being the best version of myself, being all I can be. And I just get a lot of satisfaction from that. And when I'm around people who are trying to push and grow, it stimulates me because maybe there's no point, but it's like we're here, right? And we have to do something. And so if I'm going to be here, I want to get to the end of my life and look back and have a lot of pride. And a lot of that just comes from trying. It doesn't even come from the million, like hitting a number. Like I remember, like if you hit the goal, obviously we want to hit the goal, but it doesn't even matter if you hit the goal. That's what people don't understand. Like once you hit goals, you're just going to set a new goal. It's just like how the human brain works. And so I started to realize, well, it doesn't matter if I hit the goal. It just matters if I tried. An example of that, I'll wrap on this thought is, I want to play in the NFL. And I trained harder than anyone I know. Like literally, there was nothing else I could do. And the way I knew that is I had some injuries, probably wasn't good enough. But I remember there's a guy who came in when I was playing at BYU. And this guy had never played football in his life. He's from Ghana. He was 6'8", 265, ran a 4.5. never played football in his life, played 6 games in college, and then he went 5th pick in the draft. And to give you context, going 5th pick in the draft is like, I mean, it's impossible, right? He got like an 8-figure contract, whatever, Pro Bowler. His name's Ezekiel Ansah. You can look him up. And I remember I was like, oh, okay, like there's nothing I could have done. Like he was so much better, and he was so much faster, and he was so much stronger. I was like, yeah, like I could train as much as I want, and I'm never going to be as good as that guy. And so but I had so much pride because I was the best American football player I could have been. I just wasn't as good as this guy, right? He was the top 0.00001%. So I guess that's the shift. Hopefully that made sense. But the shift just has turned from like hitting the goal per se and thinking that's going to matter to I just want to be the best I can be. And there really isn't a reason behind it. And once you make a lot of money, the harder thing too is like, you don't really need more money.
Yeah.
So you got to start like finding purpose in other things. And I just really enjoy being around growth-minded people. I mean, it just really stimulates my brain. I love to learn, and I like to talk about big abstract topics and philosophy and stuff like that. So to each their own, but that's kind of my answer. Yeah.
And nailed it, man, because as well, coming from yourself who's playing the game that you've played, where $1 million a month, like just to highlight that, it's like, I know probably in your world, it's like $1 million a month. It's like, cool. But like to listeners, like $1 million a month, it's like, that's a big game that you're playing, right? And then to have that realization there when, like, I'm curious what you learned about your driving force at that moment in time when you held the party and the guy kind of almost like expecting the recognition for like, mate, look at you, like,
Yeah, right.
You're killing it. What did you learn about your driving force at that moment of your journey?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dark energy, right? So, as a young boy, I had 2 older sisters. I had no older brothers, so I'm the oldest boy in my family. I have 2 younger brothers. So, I grew up playing dress up and tea parties, and my dad and mom are very conservative, so there's no cussing. And, I don't even think I had the birds and bee talk till I was like 12. And even when my dad gave it to me, it was kind of weird. I think the way he did it, he's like, he was like, you have like this factory, and, if you, like, it was just weird. It was just weird. I'll just leave it at that. So, I was just kind of, I was a nice kid. I had a good heart, but I just was kind of strange, and I got made fun of a lot. And so I remember at a young age, I was 12, I was getting bullied pretty bad. I told my dad, hey, I want to start working out. And, he just thought I wanted to work out, but I wanted to beat these kids up. So before school, I was 12. I get up at like 4:30 in the morning, go to the gym, work out from like 5 to 7:30, and then they pick me up, take me to school. And after 3 months, like I was pretty jacked, right? So I'm going through puberty. I'm 12 years old. I've never lifted before. And then I remember like everything changed. Like I started getting respect. I started crushing it in sports. I was like, oh my gosh, like I work hard, I get results. Okay, I'm going to do this in my grades. I'm going to do this with girls. And like everything started working for me. I was like, oh shit. So I think hitting $1 million in a month was more of that, because I remember when kids would make fun of me and then I started doing well in those things, no matter what they said, I was like, they couldn't beat me. It was like, hey, Tanner, you're a pussy or this or that. And I'd be like, okay, but my girlfriend's hotter than you. Or like, I have better grades than you. Or like, I'm better at sports than you. Or like I'm more like, it was like they couldn't say anything. And so that was kind of my maybe defense mechanism. And so I think I just wanted to hit $1 million a month kind of the same way. It was like, hey, like, look at me, I can do this. Like, F you, mother effers, because, a lot of people made fun of me when I dropped out of school and started my business. And then you get there and you just realize like, it's good motivation, but it doesn't last, because eventually if you're just doing stuff to prove other people wrong, the thing is they don't give a fuck anyways. Like, they really don't care. Even mean people, they're just being mean in the moment usually because they're having a bad time of their life. And the second they say something rude to you, they just forget about it. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest shift, is like, it went from like very dark energy and kind of like proving myself to no matter what I do, I can't prove myself. There's always someone ahead of me. I mean, you said $1 million a month, right? Like I got buddies doing 10 million a month. So if I get to 10 million a month, then there's probably someone else who's doing 100. Like, it's just, there's levels to the game. And no matter where you get, there's only one person who wins. Like, so right now I'm going to say it's Elon. Everyone else is second place or worse. So you can't win. So it just really shifted to like, okay, if I can't win and it doesn't matter, why am I pushing? And I just got to the conclusion. I was like, I just want to be the best I can be. When I die, like, I'm not super religious, but there's the parable in the Bible, I believe, right? And it's like when Jesus gives the 3 guys talents. One gets 1, one gets 3, I think one gets 5. And then the 2 guys double their talents and one guy leaves it the same. And that's how I kind of view my life, is like, I came in with so much talent. I have these gifts. I'm not trying to beat anybody. I just want to be the best I can be, you know? And when I die, hopefully, you know, if I see God or whoever's up there, like, I hope he's just like, yeah, bro, like, you fucking killed it. You took exactly what I gave you and you ended up exactly where I thought you would be. And I feel like, especially right now, recently, like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. It really feels like, I don't know, like, I'm not superstitious and super religious, but like lately it's kind of felt like I've had someone's like hand on my shoulder a little bit. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that connection, like, I know it's different for everyone, but yeah, to have that sense of connection in life is just, yeah, so valuable.
Yeah.
I also feel like, to touch on that, like, you've obviously like walked that path and then, yeah, gone through this transition. I think it's so relatable, and people are going to resonate who are walking the path of success, and if they are creating results in their life, whatever that is to them. And obviously, it sounds like you defined your own game at some point, like, rather than trying to beat competition, you had like to find your own game, is what I'm hearing there inside of it.
Yeah. And to be, you know, just to be transparent, I don't, everyone can live their life however they want. You know, some people, they just want to have a family and live on a farm, and some people want to build stuff, and some people, like, I don't care what you do. Just the way I'm hardwired, I've always just been very competitive. My dad worked really hard. He always said, like, you can have anything you want, but you got to go out and get it. And so I wish sometimes, like, I wasn't the way I was, because life probably would be easier. But I'm just very hardwired to be the best I can be. And so instead of trying to change myself, I'm like, this is who I am, and I'm going to go out and do the best I can do. And it really excites me. Like, life excites me when I feel like I'm growing, you know, and when I'm with people who are also growing. It excites me when when I'm around people and it's like, I don't know, they're just like, I want to have kids and I just want to, like, do this. I'm not saying it's bad. I want kids too, but I want kids to be a part of my life, not my entire life, right? Because I feel like I don't want to give up my entire life for something else. It's like, I want to be the best I can be and pour time into myself, in the sense of, like, I want to be the most patient. I want to be the most kind. I want to be the strongest. I want to be the most jacked. I want to be the richest. Like, I want to be all those things, right? Of the best version of myself, versus I feel like when people are not trying to grow, you can't do that. And, you know, I don't know why, but I just think business in my mind is where the most growth happens, because there's always a challenge. It's always changing. Fitness or like spirituality or even politics, whatever, there's nothing wrong with them. I think there's a place in life for them. But, you know, like with fitness, it's like, all right, like, don't eat so much fat food and, like, move. It's like, I don't feel like there's a lot of growth there. It's like, you do it or you don't. Or spirituality, it's like, yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole a bit, but once you kind of get to where you believe life is, like, you believe in Jesus or you believe in something else, and it's like, okay, like, that's kind of probably where it's going to stay. Versus business, I just feel like there's always a new level, right? There's like, hey, you get here, you can get here. You get here, you have this problem with the team, you do this. Like, I just enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, I guess, like, you know, sometimes I wish I didn't, so I could just maybe live a more, like, slower life, but I just enjoy it. And growth comes from obstacles. So I think a lot of people should turn into that instead of run away from it.
Yeah. And that's a valuable lesson in all areas of life too, like that philosophy, that mindset. But I'm curious, like, for you, with building what you've built inside of your wealth, your success, like, I'm curious what you had to, or having to, unlearn to create the love, intimacy, relationship as well, like that element.
Yeah.
You know, different games.
That's a great question. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great question. Business is very, to be good at business, you have to be very efficient, right? So even my schedule today, it's like, all right, get up, go here, do this podcast, go to the next podcast, go there, like, everything's very, like, optimized. Relationships, I feel, is the exact opposite. Like, you can't, like, optimize relationships, right? And it's hard to do, because, like, when you've had so much success in one area of life doing it that way, and then a different area of life is not that way, it's a little difficult. So I think, you know, issues I would have would be, you know, like, hey, like, I'm going to fit you in this, like, time block. Let's say it's my girlfriend or something, and, you know, she's like, she doesn't see me all day, and then she gets this time block. I'm like, okay, time block's over, I gotta go. So I think just understand, like, relationships are a little bit different. They're going to be a little bit more time consuming. They're not necessarily this, like, little efficient thing you can fit in a box. Like, I'm going to start here and I'm going to end here, because especially with women, as you know, right? Like, they're a little bit more emotional. They may be having a down day or something like that. So I think, this flip in the mindset is going kind of from full efficiency to like a little bit less efficient. And then I guess the other big lesson is that I had to learn was, I think this goes for all men. You know, as a young man, I kind of knew when I finished football, I was 22. So from 12 to 22, all I cared about was playing the NFL, right? I had good grades and I didn't really date. I had like one girlfriend during that time. And then because I just knew you only get one shot at life, right? So I've always had the mindset, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to hit this goal. Cause when I look back, if I don't hit it, I want to know there's nothing else I could do. I knew that at a very young age. I just remember thinking that even with sports, because you only get one shot, you don't get a fucking redo, right? What that did though is when I became 22, you know, I went from like, you know, big man on campus to the bottom of the totem pole again, so to speak, right? It's like, I don't have money, I don't have status, you know, I'm living like in a crappy place, I have a shitty car, you know, so I'm not really in a place where I can really command like women, so to speak. And then 22 to 27, I basically just worked my ass off and I get to this level. And then, you know, it's like now you can get any girl you want, right? Like I was in pretty good shape, pretty tall, was making money, you know, etc. And then I kind of felt like women were like, okay, time to grow up. I'm like, well, man, like you got to have fun in your 20s because you're beautiful. Like, oh, I didn't get to do anything. And so I really struggled with that for a few years, where like I've always wanted a relationship, right? I don't think like just sleeping around, hooking up with girls is better, but I just felt like, bro, I can't be with one girl forever. It's too hard. It's too big of an ask. Like I really struggled with it. And so I've never had like an open poly type relationship or whatever, but I've always looked into it. So I've talked to guys. I'm like, hey bro, you know, off camera, I'd be like, hey, like what's the real dynamic of your relationship? And it's always hard because, you know, a lot of guys don't want to talk about it. It's very personal. Like, hey bro, like, so, you know, do you cheat on your wife? Or like, do you like, they're like, bro, like, who are you to ask me this stuff? Right. And then I meet some guys who were doing the kind of poly thing, and I'd meet them and talk to them. And, you know, I meet their girls and I'm like, I don't know, dude, your girls are kind of trash. Like 2 5s make a 10. I don't think so. You know what I mean? So, and I really struggle with it because I thought I've always wanted to be true to myself. I don't want to follow the crowd, but every time I would like maybe go down that path or think about it, the girls were just not, I was like, this isn't it. And then I would get with my ex and like, she was great, but then I felt like I couldn't commit. And then I go back and forth probably for the last 7 years. So, I mean, I'll just tell you what happened recently. So I've just been battling that for like, I want to say 5 years. It's been a big battle. And I'm not very public about it because one, I just don't want to deal with the judgment. And number two, I don't know what to do. So I don't feel like I need to talk and teach something that I don't know how to do. It's like, hey, like I suck at basketball. Let me show you how I suck. It's like, you know, I don't know. So long story short, maybe this was in the last 6 months. I took a 3-month sabbatical from women. Like I was like, yo, fuck this. Like I need to get my head clear because, you know, when you're dating women and like hooking up and all this stuff, I just feel like it's hard to get clear because every time, you know, you're meeting someone, then that affects your emotions, whatever. So anyways, I take a sabbatical. I'm like, no texting, no calling, no Instagramming, no porn, no nothing. Like just, I took it very extreme, which if you meet me and you get to know me more, like I'm very like 100 or 0. That's just how I am. So I do that. And I end up having a trip to New Zealand and I canceled it last minute for some personal reasons. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to take it anyways. So I go to New Zealand. And I have a podcast similar to this. And I actually met with a guy named Connor Haley. So shout out to Connor if he hears this. And he was talking about NLP and, you know, kind of like mindset stuff. And I was like, man, that's kind of interesting. You know, can you connect me with someone who can maybe talk to me more about this in my situation, like relationship wise? And he's like, yeah, I want you to hit up this guy, John DeMartini. He's a doctor, psychologist. Anyway, so I get on this call and I'm so grateful for it because like he's in 60 minutes, he probably, fixed the last 5 years of my life. And I'd spent to that point, I don't know how many hours, like hundreds of hours, $500,000 probably. I mean, just crazy money, bro. Cause like when I have an issue in my mind, like I'll do anything to fix it.
Yeah.
So anyways, he gets on and like, I'm telling my situation, I'm like, hey, so I'm with this really amazing girl on and off for 7 years, love of my life. want to marry her, but like I can't. I just don't know why. And then like I go date other girls, and it's like worse. And then I go, I'm just like I don't know why I feel this way. Like I feel like I have a disease. Like I was like, do I have a mental disease? Do I have a sex problem? Like what the fuck is wrong with me? And he's like, bro, he's like, you don't have a problem. He's like, it's just the wrong girl. I was like, what do you mean? How do you know that though? Because I'm like, yeah, I've heard that, but I'm like, how do you know? He's like, look, the values are misaligned. He's like, what do you value? So we start talking about it. He's like, okay, does she do those things? And I was like, some of them. He's like, yeah, but not all of them, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, so you value her enough to be with her long term, but you don't value her enough to marry her. And he's like, not in a bad way. Not that she's a bad person or anything. I mean, she's an amazing person. He's just like, you just don't value what she wants. She wants different things. So in relationships, there's a power dynamic. And when it's like this, the bottom person wants monogamy. This person keeps looking around. And he's like, when it's like this, guess what happens? They both want monogamy. So he says, the only thing that's happening is you keep looking around because you feel an imbalance, right? And then I even said like, well, in the past, like when she was doing more of these things, I still couldn't commit. He's like, yeah, it would, again, like you liked her enough to be with her, but like the commitment, it's not enough for you to commit. I was like, holy shit. So anyways, he gives me a little exercise after. He's like, look, you either have to value what she does more or you're going to have to find a different girl. So I do the exercise, sit down with him again, and I go through it. And he's like, yeah, so like now you got it figured out. So I go back to her. I have full clarity. And I basically say, hey, here's what I need. And in short, I won't get into super crazy detail, but in short, like I just think there's two types of girls guys can be with. You can be with kind of the housewife, stay at home, takes care of the kids, or you can be with the business, kind of helps you build and grow. I want a woman, like don't get me wrong, like if she cooks and cleans and all that, great. But like, I don't really give a fuck if she helps me grow and pushes me and stuff like that. And so I just wasn't getting that anymore. And I basically said, hey, I need this to commit. And if I can't get that, like we're just not fit. And long story short, without getting into details, I don't think she wanted to do it anymore. And I was like, okay, like that's it. And I felt like the first time I actually felt peaceful, where I knew I was making the right decision instead of it was very, fuck, I don't know, like, am I making the wrong decision? Am I making, because, and when you talk to people about your life choices, like even religion, it's like you're going to get 100 different answers and you never fucking know, because if you don't know, the answers come inside. So anyways, long story short, get to that point, come back home to the States. And then I'm like, I should just start traveling. It was like kind of intuition. And, I was like, I set up a whole schedule for the next 2 years. It doesn't mean I was going to do it, but I was going to stay in a place each month, because the reason I say a month is because it's long enough to live a normal schedule, but it's short enough I can still see the world, right? So I come here and I shit you not, bro, like first girl I meet, she sits down and she like lists off every fucking thing that I want, even the stuff I was willing to give up, like even the like kind of stuff I was like, yeah, like if she does all these other things and doesn't do that, fuck it. She even says that. And I'm like, holy fuck, are you, like, it was crazy. And so like we started, this will be out soon, but we started dating like a week ago. And it sounds like, I even told her, I was like, this is going to sound crazy, but like I just turned 34. It's like, I've dated enough. It's like, I know, like, I've dated quite a few women. So I know a good woman when I see one and like what she has. And yeah, dude, I guess to summarize what I'm trying to get, that whole experience, I was like, the chance of me canceling a trip, rebooking it, going to a podcast, me and the guy on the podcast who intros me to a doctor who tells me what I think is wrong. And then I go home and I randomly go to Dubai and I meet the first girl I meet is literally the perfect match that I've been looking for. Yeah, it just felt like a little bit more than like chance. Like that's where I started saying, I don't know, maybe God actually is out there. He's in my life for once, because I'm not very religious. And a lot of time when people say that stuff, I'm just like, you're either like retarded or you're just trying to clout chase. But it really felt like, it kind of felt like he was like, yo, dude, like you're ready. Like you've been looking for the answer. You put in all this work to get there. You found it. Like, here you go. Anyways, I think your question was about love. Hopefully that answered.
No, bro, I was tracking that, and I really appreciate you going into detail and also being open around that as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that it sounds like you've gone through this journey of like figuring some stuff out, and then Dr. John DeMartini, that absolute beast.
I've never even heard of him before. And then all these people are, oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, he's this and that. And I was like, dude, and he just blew my mind. He was like, it's like this, bro. And I even said, well, so what about divorces and cheating. He's like, yeah, this. He's like, they just think they now perceive the value is unequal. So he's like, when a guy, it doesn't mean it's okay, right? I never, when people hear this, I don't want them to think like the guy stepped out, it's your fault. No, he's a pussy. Like, you should never do that. But the point is like, the value exchange has now become unequal. So I think that's why people leave. That's why people cheat. That's why people step out. I never had it explained to me that way. Right. And so when I started looking at that, I was like, dude, that makes so much sense, because he's like, as soon as you find a girl who values what you value, you'll commit. Then I come out here, I'm not shitting you, like a week, bro, after meeting this girl, I was like, yo, she's the one, which it sounds so crazy right now. Like, I mean, like, if I heard it, one of my boys said, my dude, like, you sound like a little out there. But I think because I've dated so much and you know what you're not looking for and stuff like that, when you identify it, you just like, you can tell, you know what I mean? It's almost like a business, right? You just like, you know what you're looking for and you're like, no, that's the one. So I hope that helps some young men, because I think the way the world is right now is they're telling men to, you know, become the guy, make tons of money, look in shape, all this stuff. So you have the options. And then when you get there, I kind of felt like, okay, so now these women want me to give up my options. And I was kind of like, fuck that shit. I've worked so hard to get here. Like, I'm going to date whoever I want. I'm going to fuck whoever I want. Da, 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 da. And, you know, going down that path, it's empty, man. It's empty. And so I was like, but I don't want to, like, I can't commit to this girl, but like, I still feel like I want to smash a bunch of girls, but it's empty. But then like, I can't commit. Like, I just really felt stuck and trapped. Like, it was really, I mean, it really tormented me, I want to say, for 5 years, right? Like, just behind the scenes. And then when I met this girl, it was like, it just left. It was like, I don't like have eyes for other girls anymore. I don't even care about that. Like, she's literally exactly on the same page as me. And so, like, the advice to men I'd give now, if I could go back, I'd say, look, do all those things, build yourself. But the real key is like, figure out what you value. I think when I was like, looking back now, I didn't know what I valued. I just didn't. And so some guys may not recognize that, but if you know you don't know what you value, you can date, but it's not going to go anywhere, because if you don't know what you value, you can't even recognize when a girl has it. So figure out what you value, find a girl who finds those same values, and as soon as you do, you'll want to commit. Yeah. And so I guess that also led me down the path. Like, I didn't understand how guys could commit. Like, I literally said this to one of my friends, like, bro, how the fuck can you be with one girl forever? I was like, how? Like, especially a high level guy, because these girls are throwing themselves at you, right? It's very different than if you're a low level guy. It's like when you get in a position of status, I mean, to be frank, you see guys how they hit on girls. I mean, the bar is so low. I mean, some of the shit I've heard since being in Dubai, I'm like, bro, like, does that shit work? Like, you know? So I couldn't understand it. And then I just recently understood it, and I felt so peaceful with it, because obviously, like, it's almost like I knew I wanted monogamy, right? One girl. I feel like that's an easier life. But in my heart, I was like, I don't think I don't think I can do it. Now it's like, not only do I feel like I can do it, but I feel like it's the right choice.
Yeah. Like you shared before, like, each their own on their path.
Yeah.
But I follow that same viewpoint too. Like, the depth inside of a relationship, that I sense, like, with, you know, with Bonnie and my girlfriend, like, the depth that we can build when we're growing together, it's going to be so much deeper than, like, you know, it would be like someone starting a business and then having 10 businesses at once. It's like, that's going to be very challenging.
Yeah. And then, like, from what I've seen, like, because again, I never did it. Like, I never full on was like fully active, like in some open relationship thing. I looked into doing it, stuff like that. But like, now my viewpoint is most girls don't like it. Like, I mean, let's just throw it out there. It's like, they don't like it. So what I would see is the guys would make the girls tolerate it. And I think if you have a good heart, I would see that. Like, do you really want to make a girl you love, you really care about, tolerate you hooking up with other chicks?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you love her and you're seeing you're hurting her, it's like, I think there's something broken in you. Like, or you don't love her. It's like, I'm like, how can you do that? And then number two is, like, if you did find a girl who's okay with it, usually, like, again, I'm not, maybe they're out there, but I just usually would see these girls. I'm like, these are not the girls I'm after. Like, they're not, these are low quality girls. Right. So, like, to each their own, you can do whatever you want. But after going through that whole experience, maybe that's why I did. Like, you know, I don't know the whole purpose to life, right? Sometimes I'm like, why are things this way? Or like, why can we only be with one person from the stand? Not even a weird sexual way, just like, like when you meet a new girl, you can't really talk to your ex, but you have a lot of love for your ex, but you got to kind of move on, stuff like that. It's like, it kind of bothers me sometimes because I'm like, why can't we just all kind of be kumbaya and like the way humans are wired, not get so jealous and shit like that? But regardless, I feel like going through those things has made me very convicted now because I really pushed the envelope. Like I was asking anybody and everybody with high levels of status, lots of money, lots of access to women. Obviously I didn't do it publicly and I would never like share that stuff because it's very private, but I would either get like, yeah, dude, you're a dude, you're high level. You just got to like do it and they got to fucking deal with it. Like you're the man. This is how it goes. Kind of like Andrew Tate mentality. And then on the other side, they're like, no, bro, like you just got to commit to one girl and you got to deal with it and sacrifice. I'm like, man, these both sound shitty. Like on this hand, it's like you're hurting your girl or you can't find a good girl. And then on this hand, you just deal with it. And then I think like just recently, it finally like all clicked. I was like, oh, like this is how it's supposed to be. Like you meet a girl and the girl's worth the sacrifice. Right.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful perspective, man. And like that around, yeah, like I just want to share something as well that may even deepen this from like a personal experience too. Is that because I got to a point, very different level, right? You $1 million a month, but 30K a month. I was like, that's, you know,
that's not normal, right? So you're still well above average.
And was like, you know, just growing in all areas. And I was like, oh, this is going to solve all of life problems. Like, and then I realized that actually in the relationship field, I was like running fear-based patterns that were then just causing absolute turmoil inside the relationship. Reason being is I thought, right, you know, money, status, those things would sort it. Yeah, actually what I realized is like my girlfriend, she's like, she really wants like the emotional, like just groundedness to hold whatever is going on for her too.
Of course. Girls are the waves and then they want us to be the rock and they're going to, I agree.
I would notice inside myself, like in times I would just want to like push away and avoid. Yeah. And I'd actually sometimes use work as an avoidance strategy too, where it was like just a thing that I knew. So I'd throw myself into that or throw myself into the gym. And then in that, it would create unsafety inside of her. And then it was like this push-pull, right? This is what I used to experience in relationship. And still a pattern, which would be like a fear-based pattern, which would arise, which now I can just learn to meet and be with. But yeah, I just think there's someone listening in too. It's like this commitment piece. And this is an angle I wanted to go down as well, to just be curious, because I certainly found that freedom and commitment, as sometimes there was almost like a conflict inside for me between commitment and freedom. Right. And I'm wondering whether you've also experienced that too.
Yeah. I mean, just so everyone understands, like I loved everything about committing and monogamy and all that stuff, except the sexual side. I was just like, bro, like I just want to be with one girl and then I can sleep with other girls, no problem. That's the reality. I never was like, I want 7 girlfriends. Like it's a fucking headache, bro. You know, like one girl, I can barely handle that. So I think again, the reason I felt trapped or the reason I felt like I couldn't commit now is the values were misaligned. So I'll just give you an example. Like I want to grow and build businesses, travel and push myself and write books and, you know, like I want to like do shit like I don't know how to do. Like I'm building a tech company right now. I have portfolio companies. Like I have some very high level friends, like legit billionaires, legit like that I talk to on a personal level. And it's like, that's where I want to go. You know, my ex, like she's an amazing woman. You know, I don't know if she'll hear this or not, but I don't want it to be like I'm shitting on her. Like she is an amazing person. Like she really is like one of the best girls I've ever met. But she just wanted a very different life. She changed. Like in the beginning, it wasn't like that. And then she changed. She's just like, I want to stay home. I want to have kids. Like, I don't really want to push anymore. And it was like, so I felt very alone. Like I'm in this relationship, but I kind of feel alone, right? It's like we're living separate lives. And I just don't want to live a separate life. I want to kind of push with someone. And so that's why I think I felt trapped, because I'm like wanting to go out and grow and pursue and like do all these things. And like, I'm even like, I want to do stuff, just, even if it's weird. It's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's jump out of a plane. Let's go up this volcano. Like, I just want to do shit like that. Right. I want to go to like different events around the world and just see how they do. Like I think the bull run they do in Spain or something. And they have like carnival in Brazil. And like, I just like to do that stuff. And so if you're with someone who's not like that, I think that's where that trap feeling feels, because you're wanting to expand and grow or something, and maybe they don't. And so as soon as I found someone who was on my level, where they're like, they thought the same, and they think the same, and we just have very open conversations. And I feel like they're telling me the truth and stuff. Like it's like that went away, to be honest. Like I don't even want to be with these other girls because I'm like, what are they going to bring to the table that this other girl doesn't have? And like right now, it feels like nothing. Like it literally feels like nothing. She's like, and not only that, she's like drop dead gorgeous, which is like, it's like the craziest part is her beauty is like number 4, and she's like a 10 out of 10. Like the other night, I think I told you off camera, I went to a restaurant. The waiter that I was paying for dinner asked her out while I wasn't looking twice. I'm like at a dinner time, and she's like tells me this after, and the client's like, "Yo, bro, that dude was like hitting on your girl." I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, yeah, she was asking for her. Like, what? Then we go somewhere else. I was somewhere else at this like little bar, and 8 or 9 guys while I'm sitting there came up. I was like, "What the fuck?" And that's like number 4 on my list, you know. And so I've just never felt that way before. Where I just like don't care about that, but obviously it's still a bonus. And she like wants to grow with me, and she wants to have the same amount of kids I want to, and she wants to travel, and like she's very like growth mind. I mean, it's like even just stuff. I'd say, hey, I have this dinner or whatever. She's like, can I come? Or like she's like, hey, I want to come over today, and I want you to show me your business stuff. Like it just feels like it's like she's like with me, right? Versus she's not with me, you know. And I think again, like now looking back now with the context I have, like it's been a lot of mixed emotions because obviously like I still have a lot of love for my ex. Like we were together for 7 years. Like I care about her as a person. But looking back now, it's like we just grew apart. Like she went down a different road than me, which is okay. And I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with what she wants to do, but she just went down a different road. And like I'm kind of the same. I've been kind of the same guy. It's like the guy you met 8 years ago is who I am. Like you're very different. And that just is why I felt trapped, to be frank. But I didn't know what to do because I'm like, this is such an amazing person. Why the fuck do I not want to be with her? Like I genuinely felt like I was fucked. I was like, dude, she's so nice, and she's so sweet, and she's so kind, and like she's so bubbly, and she's so beautiful. I'm like, bro, like dudes will like kill themselves to be with this type of girl. I like for real. She's like that amazing. But then when I met my new girlfriend, it was like it makes sense. Like everything just came into place like in that moment, and then it was almost like, again, like I'm not superstitious really, and I don't really get into this stuff, but it just felt like God was like you see, you get it now, yeah? Like you see, and he's like, I had to do all those things to get you ready for this. I don't know.
That's so beautiful, man. But yeah, now I'm excited for you too. Like I can sense your just where you're at in it as well with this is like, it's exciting. And also it's the fact that I went to a Tony Robbins event, day with Destiny, and
With us, yeah.
yeah,
That's after Unleash with Power.
yes, it is. Yeah, it's like his long way. He does a whole day on relationships, and one of the things he says is like 3 steps. Like step 1, get clear on exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Get clear 2 on exactly what you don't want.
Yeah.
And then step 3, like who do I need to be,
right,
in order to attract that? And it sounds like you've gone through your version.
and I think as like I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I did want. Like don't get me wrong, like I was like, I want a kind girl, and she's nice and she's beautiful, like that bullshit. But like it's like, how do you want to live your life? And to me, you know, some people it's like they do stuff very separately and then they do stuff together. I want to do stuff with my partner because otherwise I don't feel like partners. It's like I don't want a wife, I want a partner. You know what I mean? Like I don't want a wife. Like any girl could be my wife. Any girl could take care of the kids. Like it's not that I don't value it. It's just like I don't value it as much. It's like it's lower on my list. Like if she's like, I'll cook and clean or I'll grow with you. It's like, dude, fuck that shit. I'm fucking rich. I'll pay 20 grand a year and someone else can do it. Like when these guys get wives, I'm like, bro, like, did you get a wife for something you could pay 20 grand a year for and not have to have her be your wife? Like it's like part-time maid, part-time chef is 20 grand a year. Like, I don't know why it just blows my mind. I'm like, that is such a dumb reason to get a wife. I want a partner. And so, yeah, once I figure that out in terms of being the person I need to be, I felt I was always there. Minus obviously like, you know, no girl wants to be with a guy who like doesn't know what he wants to do with women sexually and all that type of stuff. Like that's not attractive. But besides that, once I found her, it was all set because that went away immediately once I met her. I was like, yo, this girl, like, and I just basically was talking with my friends. I was like, I get what you mean now when you said she'll be worth sacrificing for. Like, I'm not gay. Like, I still see women. I'm like, yeah, she's fucking hot. Like, there's stuff that goes off in my brain. It's like ding, 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 but it's not worth it now. It's like the what I would lose. It's like, it's not worth it, bro. And it feels so much easier when in the past I was like, I think now it was like, my brain was like, well, you're not even getting the stuff that is important to you. So if like, you're not getting that either, it's kind of a shitty trade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it just felt out of balance. Like I felt like my trade was like here, my ex, and then with her, it just feels like equal. And I'm like, so I'm willing to do this. And then I've noticed even recently, like I feel like way more generous right now. Like I thought, like, bro, there's just some stuff. I'm like, is something wrong with me? Like I just didn't like giving very much. And I always felt like it just, every time I gave, I was like, man, I feel like a fucking ATM. And just because I made a lot of money, I don't want to be around people who just treat me that way, right? Because I'm always wondering, what's your agenda? I have some very high level friends, and good thing is I met them before they were as high level. So I think there's some trust there, but they probably think the same thing. They're like, does Tanner like me for me, or does he just like me to get something? And so I noticed even when I met her, like I want to give so much more because she's meeting me where I need her, if that makes sense, right? So I think, a guy, if you're in a situation where like you're looking around, my viewpoint now is like, you're not polyamorous bullshit. I don't even think that shit's real. Like, to be honest, now that I've been through this, I'm like, I think that's just a bunch of bullshit. Like, people just make that up. I was like, you're a grown ass man. Of course, you're going to want to fuck other girls. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is like, if you're looking around, you're with the wrong girl. When you're with the right girl, you're not going to care, bro. Like, you're not, it's not like you'll just that's going to turn off and you won't feel stuff. Of course, you're a guy, but you're going to just be like, who gives a fuck? And I just didn't feel that way before. I couldn't understand how guys would be faithful. I was like, bro, like, I shouldn't say that. I would never cheat. I did it one time in my past, and it fucking, like, that was the lowest point in my life. I would never do that again. It was like, that's as close to suicidal thoughts I had. It was a very bad place. But like, just dealing with it sounds fucking terrible. So I was like, well, fuck, I'm not going to deal with it either. So I got to figure this thing out. Like, I got to find a girl who's open to it or whatever. And then I met this girl, and it was like, it all made sense. I don't know. And I feel peaceful about it, meaning I never felt really peaceful when I was like dating and kind of trying to do the like, hey, I'm with you, but I'm going to have these other pieces on the side. It never felt good, right? It just never felt right. Now it feels right. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that's how it's supposed to be. Even though I can't prove that, or there's no like science or research where it's like you can because like you can find anything to support anything, right? But yeah, anyways, and you can tell I'm super sorry if I talk too much, but yeah,
mate, it's cool, man. It's actually, yeah. There's angles as well, which I was picking up on then as well, which I've certainly felt too. It's like with my girl, she moves me from here, like from my head into my heart, into my being, which generally from the heart is like a place where you will give and serve, and it's like these two combined is like a power. Like, I'm curious because I know Hormozy is one of your good friends too, and he's just had the interview with Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
and like it was. Did you watch that one?
I did. I watched it. I didn't watch it. I don't think I watched it close enough, but I think he definitely talked a little bit more about emotions and stuff. And I think Tony, the gist I got was like, you've really kind of grinded your way here. And he was like, you don't have to like be miserable. It's like, you can kind of be happy. I mean, everything on my feed right now is about that. And I'm just like, I was like, you scroll by it. But yeah, like I'm gonna have to rewatch it, but it seemed like a lot of people liked it.
Yeah, it was just fascinating. I find it fascinating to say he's a absolute goat at what he does. In a way, it seemed like he was, just bringing awareness to the part of Alex, which you can just tell is like electrifying and like is lit up and almost like heart led. And then showing that both actually play a huge role. But then in relationship, like for me, I've found personally that the heart is what gets almost like blasted open, and that's a beautiful place to live.
So I mean, people, I know him on a personal level. I don't think a lot of people know how he is on a personal level. If you just see him on social media, it's like, oh, this guy just talks about business like 24/7. He's actually like a really hilarious dude. He's got like a crazy sense of humor. He's got like a really big heart. He really cares about people. I think like recently it feels to me like he's the happiest I've ever seen him.
That's awesome.
Like, I feel like he finally feels like he has enough, if that makes sense. I mean, he's killing it, bro. I mean, I feel like he doesn't feel, how I was telling you when I hit $1 million a month, like that feeling I feel like he's going through that now. He's like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't think I need anymore. I don't know. I won't share that. Like I think I'll just say it's like I think he's like he's like thinking about having a family type. Like it's different for him. But yeah, a lot of people they might have their opinions, whatever. He's a good dude, and he's very loyal, and he does what he says he's gonna do, and I really value that about him. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to say, I think a lot of people, they see the internet Alex, but they don't get to see like the personal Alex, and like he's exactly who he is, who he says he is. And there's not a lot of people like that. Like you meet people, it's like, okay, maybe he's just putting on a show. But the thing I like about Alex is he is who he says he is. And I get to see that personally. And like Layla's just as amazing. Like they're just like really, really amazing people. And I think that's why they've gotten to where they're at, because like people want to follow. Like leadership is really simple if you think about it. It's like become someone other people want to fucking follow. Like people like go through all these tactics. Like people want to follow people they want to be like. Like no one's looks at you. Oh, I want to like. Yeah, he looks like a great leader. He's out of shape, but he has a shit marriage and his shit. But I was like, no, it's like you want to be the guy who's like the most jacked, the tallest, the richest, the best. Like why? Because you want to be like him. And I think that's just a testament to who they are. And like Tony Robbins, like I don't know much about him. I've never met him, but it's probably the same thing. It's like he's had his success because people want to be like him. And that's like the key. And so that only can come from growth, because nobody wants to be like the guy who like has a bunch of vices and can't control himself and stuff. They want to be like the guy who's like a lot of discipline, a lot of growth mindset, has a big heart, stuff like that. And so like, long story short, I'm basically just trying to say he is who he says he is. And like, he's had a good positive effect on my life.
Yeah.
And, I admire him for that. And I like the money shit's whatever for me too, because I made a lot and that's kind of nice, but it's like, he's a good person like outside of that. Anyways, he's been a good influence in my life for sure.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I think that's where, because I've seen him, on what is shared online, right? Yeah. And I felt like the interview with Tony maybe brought that side out of him, which he's actually like in normal life, because
he's not usually like that for sure. He's not usually like that for sure. I think because, again, I don't know. He told me right before he was going to that interview, actually. So I saw him like the day before he was going. And I think he wanted to ask Tony, like, he wants to ask stuff he doesn't know, right? And so I think that's kind of a testament to where he's at right now. And
brave and vulnerable, courageous, right? To have that level of conversation.
I think also his mindset's great because, like I actually texted him. I said, like, bro, I feel like people would literally say, like, check out Alex's new squat position with his new toilet. Just take the shit at. It's just like, and his response was, he just said, yeah, Donald Trump and Elon probably get it worse.
Yeah.
He's just like I like how I think he's been through so much. His give a fuck radar is so low. And I'm there too. But even for me, I'm like, man, bro, people like microanalyze every little thing you do. And he's just like, whatever. He doesn't really care. And I think that's a great quality about him. But yeah, I'm excited for him, and like I'm super happy for him. And he's hit every goal in life that you could possibly like want to hit. I'm actually excited, like if and when he has kids, so like the people who like say, they're broke because they have children. I'm like, oh, well, he has children too now, so I guess you can't say that against him. I cheer for winners. Like I don't see the point in like putting them down or try to justify, oh, well, the reason he's there and I'm not is because like, dude, like you're not there because like, you didn't do what it takes, or like you don't want to do it, and that's fine. I don't know. I've never had an issue with that. I've never cared if someone else is winning because it doesn't do anything to me.
And maybe that's something back too with even like what we shared to begin with. Like there was a moment. I mean, it depends what game you define. Of like if it's like I just need to be number one, it's like you shared before. It's like that game is going to be really difficult to win. Whereas actually defining your own game of like what is success. And I'm curious now in your journey, like if you could just summarize that statement, because as someone who has won near enough every ClickFunnels award, go high level award, and millions. It's like I'm curious because I just think it'd be fascinating for someone listening in, and me too. What is your definition to success now?
I honestly feel this is the first time in my life where I have everything together. I always felt I had 2 out of 3. I always felt like my fitness was always on point, like my money was always on point, but I always felt like my relationships were fucked. You know, not like not all of them. I mean, I have friends and stuff like that, but this girl thing was just eating me alive. Like, it really bothered me because, you know, I'm the type of guy, like, I'm not gonna be coaxed into stuff. I'm not gonna do stuff just because, like, I don't care if I'm the last person on earth. If they say jump off the cliff, I'm like, no, like, I'm not gonna do it. So I finally think I just recently got to a place where I figured it out, so to speak. And so to me, like, I think when you get to the like highest level, like, I don't, maybe there's a higher level than this, but I don't feel like there is. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like on the mountain right now and I'm just trying to enjoy it. There's a book called Peaks and Valleys, right? And it talks about how like life is like this. And so like when you're on the peak, fucking enjoy it. I feel like I'm on a peak right now. And, you know, I'm in like some of the best shape I've ever been in. My money is like, obviously I'm the oldest I can ever be at each day. So it's like, it's the highest it's ever going to be. And like, I got my relationship down. So like, I think like the goal should be like, get your fitness right. So you feel good and you can like do stuff. Like, that's probably the biggest thing. And you feel like, I just get a lot of mental like clarity and it helps relax me and perform. Get your money right. Right. So you can like provide and do things like, you know, I'm taking, last year I took my family on a trip to Jamaica. It's 50 G's, right? I'm taking my nieces and nephews to Disney World. It's 30 G's. You know, like, it takes money, bro. People act like money doesn't matter. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, everything costs money, so it does kind of matter. I was like, it doesn't matter, but it does matter to do the shit you want. And then the third thing is like, I think once you get those things in order, then just find like a girl who's down for you. She's down for you. She's down for what you want to do. She like sees your mission. She sees your drive. Like, she's got your fucking back. And like, when those three things are there, bro, I think that's like the key. Like, I don't think it gets better than that. I just wasn't sure. Like, I just recently got to that place. And so obviously, like, I feel very happy. I feel like I was on this journey for years and years and years, and I was really struggling with it. But I think if you got your fitness right, your money right, you're able to give to people. Like, you can actually like help them. Like you can pay for vacations or experiences or their mortgage or their cancer treatment or fucking whatever. Like, that's stuff I've done. That's like where the money does matter. And then you have a girl who's like ride or die for you, and she's like really down for you. Not like not like she just says she's down. Like, she's down. You know what I mean? Like you're proud to show her off. Like, you don't even care if people know you're with her because you're not trying to hire. Like, it's not like I ever was like afraid to show my girl in the past, but I was always, you know, because of that internal conflict, I was like, I don't know, is like something gonna happen or whatever. Like, with this girl I'm with now, it's like, I just like, no, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, I just know like where it's headed and where it's going. And I'm really proud to be with her. And she's like dope as fuck. And like, I want to have kids with her, like all that type of stuff. And so I think that's the key, because I don't see how it could get any better than that. I feel like when you're like trying to push and grow and achieve and you're doing it, and then you just feel peaceful inside, yeah, that's the key. Because like, that's all you really want at the end of the day is you just want peace. You want to feel like what you're doing matters, and you want to feel like you don't need to like get other stuff or buy other things, and like you're just in a good spot. And so right now, I don't feel like I need anything. I don't feel like I want anything. I don't feel like I can't, there's nothing I can't do. Like, I'm not like worried about money and bill, like, and I'm with this like amazing girl, and I'm like, this is what I've been working for. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, I think the lesson from that is I had to work really fucking hard to get here. Yeah. I had to turn myself into a guy, like a girl of her caliber. It's like, I mean, bro, like some of the names she was telling me of the people she's dated, I was like, I mean, you would know who they are. I mean, I was just saying there like, are you like, this is crazy. I was like, you sure you want to be with me? I'm like, you sure you don't want to be these guys? And she was like, yeah. And I, you know, I just, I couldn't have done that if I hadn't become who I am today and gone through the things I've gone through. And that's why you have to grow, because you won't get what you deserve if you're not going to put in the work, you know? And I had to go through, obviously the money took years, you know, the fitness took years, obviously the relationship thing took years, right? And so like, I finally feel like I'm at a point now where maybe, you know, life changes, and as you get older, you have different opinions. But I feel like now, like I truly feel now, like I feel like I have my kind of compass on how I think about fitness, health, fitness, the same thing as health, like fitness, money, and women. And it's like, I don't think it's going to change. Maybe, but I kind of feel like how I feel now is like when I'm 80 or 90, I'm like, yeah, Like I figured that out at 34, and that was kind of the turning point in my life, and that's the direction I'm headed. And I feel like that's what I'll tell my sons and my daughters, like, and maybe like I went through those things not only so I can learn, but so I can tell my son, it's like, hey, bro, like, before I met your mom, like I was in this 7-year relationship, and like before, I built my business, like I was doing sport, like all those things. I kind of feel like maybe that's why they happen. I don't know. Um, I'm not the master creator to life, but it almost feels like that's why it happened. Like I feel that more in my heart versus before, people would just talk about God and stuff. I'm like, bro, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Like, oh, everything happens for a reason. I'm like, no, like it happens because you're a pussy and you didn't, like that was who I was. Like I would just, kind of make fun of people for that. But I feel like now, like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and everything just feels good, and it feels like everything's aligned, and like I'm excited about life, so.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you too, because it's like some people who are walking that path of let's just say like material success, they end up not finding that other path. And that's what I've noticed anyway. And just when you look, like some do, like, and that's the goal, right? Especially when, certainly not to minimize success, because successes are awesome. Like, why would you not want to make incredible money, make a big impact in the world? Like, all of these things are great things, but also like I love the fact that in that definition, you've like built in as well the love and connection piece, which it sounds like that's like the piece of the puzzle, which is now fitting in.
I feel like you have to get there.
Yeah.
Like, so meaning like
it's a journey.
Well, so meaning like everyone, you hear all the shit people say, right? Like money doesn't matter. Okay. Like, health is everything. Okay. It's like being with one woman is the best feeling ever. But until you actually feel that, and at least for me, I was like, it's a bunch of fucking bullshit, bro. Like, I was like, this is a bunch of bullshit. Like, you're poor. That's why you say money doesn't matter. Your wife is terrible. That's why you say a girl's great, because you have to, like, you're living in a prison. So that's literally what I would say in my head to people. I wouldn't say that to people, obviously, but like
this is like the internal.
I'm like, that's just you coping, right? But now, I think when you actually get there, like, the only reason I wish everyone could be rich is like so they could see like it doesn't mean everything. Or like I wish every guy could be with a bunch of girls so he could see like being with a bunch of girls doesn't mean anything. Or I wish everyone could be super shredded so they could see being super shredded doesn't mean anything. So I've actually done those things. So because I've actually done it, when people hear me say it, they'll believe it, right?
Yeah.
Like I can say it. And then now that I know that, I'm actually in a place where it's not like I'm saying it, like I feel it. And feeling something is very different than saying it. And so like now that's why I feel the way I feel now, because I was just saying it before, bro. There's a difference, you're like, oh, money doesn't matter. Yeah, bro. More impact, more income. Bro, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I just want to make a fuck ton of money so I can do what the fuck I want. Like that was the truth. But now it's actually is that. It's like, hey, the more money I make, the more impact I can have. And like the more, like to be honest, like as I'm getting older too, like I want to pour more into my family. Like they're not going to be there for her. My parents are getting older, dude. And I'm like sitting here like, what are they going to remember more? Like us going on a fucking RV that's super cheap, like 3-day road trip, or like fucking going to Jamaica or Japan or fucking Dubai, or like, jumping out of airplane. Like, I'm like, that takes money. And the reality is like a lot of people can't afford that. So if you want to have experiences with your family, especially your big family, you gotta make a lot of money. Cause like, if you pay for all the flights and the hotels and the food and everything, people will go, right? They're like, oh, now it's convenient. But if you're like, hey, it's going to be $10,000 for everyone to go on this trip, they're like, I got to take time off of work. I got to like take money. Like they don't want to do it. So like, I guess what I'm trying to say is once you've actually experienced those things and you actually feel it inside, it hits very different than just the bullshit you see on TV. Just like I know for a fact, like I bought so much bullshit and I'm like, after 6 months, it got old. I had $1 million car. I was paying $25,000 of rent. I freaking was in a building with like absolutely just insanely famous people. Like it's just like when you've done that, I think the cool thing is when you actually do it and you get on the other side and you can actually say it from experience, not just like, oh yeah, this is what most people say, so I'm just going to say it too. Because I don't believe it sometimes, right? And I don't think people believe it either. Like you need a guy who's super jacked to say being jacked doesn't matter to believe it. It's like, well, this guy's jacked and he says it doesn't matter. You see someone who's like out of shape, you're like, you don't really believe that, do you? I mean, I don't. I'm like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like money doesn't matter. It's like, dude, you make 30 grand a year. Like, but if you see someone who's making, tons and tons of money say that, it just hits different. So I guess long story short, what I'm trying to say is like, I don't really care what the truth is or not. Like, I wouldn't care if money does matter or is everything versus not. It's just, I feel like I finally got to a point in my life where I figured everything out, if that makes sense. Like the pieces have all like finally fit together. And now it's like, I can go out and live my life that way and know like deep down that that's the best way to do it. And I think that's where peace comes from, you know?
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And the last part of the show, we've got a vault section. So each guest, they'll leave a message in the vault, and then the message will be picked like each episode. And then we'll just reflect on the message. And then also you'll have an opportunity to leave a message at the end. Go for it.
So yeah. Do the right thing. Nothing else matters. Marcus Aurelius quote. And then the guy who wrote this down, I think, was David Van Weatherrill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. Nothing else matters. Yeah, bro. You know what?
He's a beast, man.
Yeah.
He races. He's on like he's on crutches because he has a bone condition.
This guy who wrote.
Yeah. And he did 17 high rocks races last season on crutches.
High rocks. Or is it high rocks or high rocks?
High rock.
Okay, sorry. I'm thinking high rock. I say it wrong, probably. Like, sorry.
And he's got the world record for the fastest marathon on crutches.
No shit.
Yeah, beast. So that's
he's great. So he did a marathon on crutches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that statement, do the right thing, nothing else matters. That defines my whole life. In fact, I think that's why I'd have a lot of guilt around stuff, because I was trying to do the right thing, but I also was trying to be true to myself. Like doing the right thing, but you don't want to do it. It doesn't really, I don't think that's the right move. Like like, for example, like if you really want to date 10 girls and you feel that, I gave my advice earlier in the episode, but it's like, you're better off doing that than like being with a girl and then fighting it, in my opinion. I just don't think that's the right way to live. I think like if you genuinely deep down want to do something, you should go do it and go 100%, because either you're going to love it or you're going to figure out like, maybe this isn't what I want. But if you sit in the middle ground and it's like, I really want to do this, but I'm not because my parents said not to, or God said not to, or, fucking whatever, I think that's stupid. Like that statement has led me to every decision I've ever tried to make. Everything like all the coaches I paid, all the money I've spent, all the sacrifices I made, it's all just around trying to do the right thing. And because I've kept that at the top of my, like, I guess, moral compass or like direction in life, I feel like I finally got to where I was supposed to go, because I feel like I've done all the stuff maybe you're not supposed to do. Like I've tried everything. Like I've bought in stuff. I tried a bunch of girls. I've tried everything, and I feel like, it was always with that in mind though. It was like I was trying to do the right thing, right? I was trying to figure it out. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, I just think a lot of people, they're either too scared to do stuff. Like they know it's the right choice, but they're too scared because of it's a fear of loss, right? Or I don't know, maybe they're a bad person. They don't want to do the right thing. I don't know. But for me, I've always tried to do that. And I still feel like I tried to, like, I feel bad inside if I treat someone wrong or I do something that I know hurts someone. Like I've never wanted to purposely do that. I just also have never wanted to not be true to myself, right? Because it's like you get one life. So if you're literally doing stuff that makes you miserable, even if it feels like it's the right thing, if it doesn't, you don't feel that inside. I feel like the best move is like, go do whatever the fuck you think you need to do and you'll figure it out. Anyways, so that is a good quote. That was a great quote that I picked out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I love. I really appreciate like your honesty and also your openness, because like it would have been easy to go down this episode and say talk about like the business and scaling and all that stuff, but I get really fascinated by the human behind it. And actually, for someone who's listening, who is walking that path of success, but also under the surface there is something that feels off or missing. Like it's one thing just hearing it from, like you shared, someone who hasn't walked the path, but actually that's why I wanted to bring you on, because like I've had experience with these things, which I've figured out. And then also to hear from you, who's actually, earn $1 million a month, generated over, $1 billion in sales for your clients. It's like, you've really walked that success path, and to hear your journey that you've walked and the amount that you've invested of time, effort and energy into like the love and connection piece too. And I just really appreciate you sharing all that. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, man. And yeah, there's so much more I need to learn. There's so much stuff I don't know. And, this is just where I'm at now. So like, maybe I'll look back in 10 years and be like, dude, like I had no idea what he was talking about. Usually that's how it is. But yeah, like I'm really grateful where I'm at. And it feels like the first time in my life, like I really feel like I have all three of those areas right where they need to be. And yeah, like I'm 34, so like, you know, I'm gonna try to make the next 40, 50 years, however long I have left, like the best I can make it. And yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. It was great. And you asked great questions. That's why I talk so much. So it's kudos to you. Like, these are great questions. I don't usually get asked these. And I usually kind of get kind of the vanilla stuff. So appreciate you having me on and asking these questions.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.